Together, we will be listening to Scott play Lotus Blossom by Billy Strayhorn.
Check in.
Oh.
Thank you, Scott. That was beautiful. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our community worship with the UUs of Charlottesville. We are glad to welcome all of you into this virtual sanctuary. It is together that we make this a place of celebration and solace, connection and compassion. My name is Debbie Norton, and I'm your worship weaver this morning. Today we are celebrating us, our congregation, and all we can commit to together. It is the second Sunday of the month of March when we encourage each other to consider our commitments during our annual pledge drive. We are grateful for the tech wizardry of Sean Scally, Kelly Dryden, Margaret Midas, and Carolyn Hines, who are working behind the scenes as technical support. And we are grateful to our video editor, Ellie Ransom, for her gifts and contributions. Haley Owens will be sharing your joys and sorrows, and Reverend Leah is preaching today. I invite our Vice President, Elizabeth Breeden, to come in now and add her welcome to us all.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Breeden, and I welcome you all to service on this lovely spring morning, hoping that you too can enjoy some of the weather and the new approaches we are all making to admitting that we are part of this community and that we contributed it to in every way that we can. Good morning.
Let us join our hearts and minds in worship now with these words. Into this time and space, we bring our hopes, our memories, and our promises. In this place of aspirations, may we accept the invitation to connection and courage. May we always be open to learning more, giving and receiving more, and offering the warm light of love and the bright fire of commitment. Let us worship together and join our choir in singing.
From the light of victory never turns the beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living brings the song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with the assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Good morning. My name is Lori Craddock, and I've been coming to this church for nearly 25 years. One of my favorite parts of church is coffee in the social hall after the Sunday worship. I look forward to seeing everyone again soon. We light this chalice this morning, the symbol of our UU faith. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Our congregation's chalice has been lit, and it will have its own screen throughout the service. If you have a chalice at home, please light it now.
Good morning. morning, everyone. Oh, just let yourself take that in for a minute. So beautiful and inspiring. It is wonderful to be together this morning, all ages, for our multi-generational community worship. Last week in Chapel and Faith Development, which happens most weeks at 10 a.m., immediately preceding community worship, I had a cup of ice cubes, just like this one, on our altar. And we use it as a tool or a metaphor to help us explore together the idea that things are always changing, just like this ice that is melting right now and becoming liquid water and vapor. Just like other things around us, including us, we are always changing. As UUs, we see this constant changing as a chance to keep growing and learning. We are committed to learning all our lives and to keep finding new meanings and understandings and deeper truths. We call this faith development. As we move towards springtime, the living earth has a lot to teach and remind us about change and the cycles of life. A garden is a great teacher and reminds us how life starts as a little seed in the dark and grows and changes and blossoms and then ends so that the cycle can start all over again. Our story this morning is a beautiful, beautiful book entitled I Wonder by Annika Harris and illustrated by John Rowe. Just as you might expect from the title, it is about a little girl who goes on a walk with her mom. And as they take in the beauty around them, they are filled with wonderings, with questions about science and feelings and how things are connected and where things come from. How many grains of sand are there in the whole world? What was here before everything? These kinds of wonderings are part of why we come together as people of faith. We make space to wonder about important things together, like, why are we here? What is our life's purpose? Why do bad things happen? And how can we work together to heal our world? What happens when we die? We don't necessarily find a neat and easy answer to all our questions and wonderings. We won't all have the same answers or understandings. That's what part of it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. And it is important to be able to say, I don't know, and to learn to live without having definite answers about everything. As a faith community, we help each other live with these unknowns too. A parting thought from our story this morning is, we live with some big mysteries. When we come upon one, we're given a gift. Every mystery is something for us to wonder about together. What do you wonder about? I invite you to hold this question in your heart and mind as we listen to our story together now.
is Lenore. Some of you know me as Noni. And I am a newly rejoined member of this Unitarian Universalist congregation in Charlottesville. I grew up in this congregation. I was dedicated here as a child. I went through Our Whole Lives. I went through Challenge, signed the book at 16. And this is the only congregation I've ever been a member of. I've found UU homes literally across the world in all the places I've lived, but this is the place that I keep coming back to, like a homing pigeon, to find a sense of love and belonging and interrelatedness. And so it means a lot to me to be able to talk about why that is. Sometimes I think we don't always realize exactly what influences have made up our lives until later on when we're looking back. And I think that's the case for me with UU. There are so many aspects of my life that I look back on and I'm like, oh, that's because I was part of this community of loving, strong people who encouraged me to be me and to listen to others and to always look for more truth. I have this very clear, strong sense that seeking more truth is sort of an obvious thing that you do. That's what you do. And it's been really something to look at the quest for ongoing racial justice and to think about how important it was for me to have that orientation when I'm unlearning so much of what I was taught about U.S. history, listening to people of color and really centering their experiences even when they're different from mine, and thinking about how important this basic orientation toward the world, that there's always more to learn and that it's up to us always to ask these wondering questions and to listen to the answer, and that I have an important piece of the puzzle, but so do other people. And a lot of that, of course, has come from my church community as well as my family. Also, one more thing I realized recently was just how much of my sense that my body is mine, not anybody else's, and I have the right to decide what happens to it. I grew up really strongly grounded in that belief. I think a lot of that is due to Our Whole Lives. It takes a lot of people to create the kind of community where you know your whole life long that you belong to them and they belong to you, just like we promise in the child dedication ceremony. And I think that's what UU Charlottesville has been for me and I know for a lot of other people. And it doesn't just happen by accident, right? To have a community like that. It takes time and resources and professionalism to grow programs that can weave in so many adults who are active in playing with and caring for and being in community with kids and youth to the point where they have that foundation and security of love and belonging and exploration. It is extraordinary, and I really want that for the next generation as well as for me.
Circle for each soul, for the children of other children, keep the circle whole.
Earth was given as a garden, cradle for humanity, tree of life and tree of knowledge, place for our discovery. Here was home for all your creatures, born of land and sky and sea, all created in your image, all to live in harmony. Show to us again fresh and free. Gently guide your sons and daughters into full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with reverence, then once more we'll Eden flower. Bless the earth and all your children, one creation make us whole, interwoven, all connected, planet-wide and inmost soul. Holy Mother, life bestowing, bid our waste and warfare cease. Fill us all with grace o'erflowing. Teach us how to live in peace.
It's so wonderful to see all the generations and all the different people that make up this wonderful community. It's also kind of weird to see myself as a young person, but it's part of what always makes me feel so emotionally tied to this place. So, none of us are alone in our experience, be it joyful or painful. And as a community, we hold and support each other. In each of our different places, as we are held by the music Scott will play for us, let us share a breath or share our hearts in the chat or just rest for a moment together. Amen.
Thank you, Scott. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the death of Breonna Taylor in her own bed. And today we mark the 1-year anniversary of the first COVID death in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Since then, close to 10,000 people in Virginia have died from COVID-19. And Black people have continued to be murdered by the virus, by guns, by knees on necks, by racism. Our Governor Northam has declared that today, March 14th, is a day of prayer and remembrance in Virginia in honor of the lives lost to the COVID virus. And I ask us also to make this a day of prayer for our Black siblings. Let us pause in sorrow for a moment. And let us also today give thanks for all those people who have worked endlessly for more than a year to care for us. Medical professionals, scientists developing the vaccines, teachers reaching out over Zoom to our children, grocery workers and delivery people making sure we had what was needed. And let us give thanks as well for the caring of family, friends, this congregation, offering human connection in this difficult year of separation. The flags of Virginia have been lowered on all the state and local buildings and grounds this day from sunrise till sunset. When tomorrow, Monday, comes, may we lift the flags high and may we turn our hearts to hope. Hope that we are on the road to health and safety. And hope that soon more and more people will understand that Black Lives Matter and that we can all work together to keep all people safe and healthy. In hope and in love, on this sad anniversary day, we offer our prayers and we say, Amen.
Thank you, Linda. This is the time in our service when we typically would invite you to make a weekly financial offering to support the good works of our congregation. Instead, I want to invite you to do something even more meaningful for the long-term health and future of the Unitarian Universalists of Charlottesville. Today, I invite you to make your pledge of financial support for the coming year, July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Everyone is invited to make this kind of commitment. Here is Liam Little, a young person in our congregation, explaining in his own words about his decision to make a financial commitment to our congregation.
Hi, I'm Liam Little and I'm 10 years old. Each week I get an allowance which I divide equally into 3 different jars. The jars are save, give, and spend. During this pledge drive, I'm donating all of my give jar to the UU congregation because it's helping people young and old learn and grow. From our Sunday services, I have learned valuable and important lessons such as how to protest peacefully, how to raise your spirit when you're feeling down, and how to accept failure. We have wonderful staff here who lead exceptional programs, and I want to ensure that we have enough money to keep the staff and programs. I hope you will donate too. Thank you for your time.
To make a financial pledge is to commit, like Liam, through our decisions and our actions, to this, our spiritual community. I want to share this sacred stone from the Black Hills of South Dakota. I think of our congregation like a sacred stone that holds us all. Throughout COVID, throughout the storms of everything that's been going on, it has provided a refuge for me. It is a bedrock throughout time, holding our families at all phases of their growth. It allows us to thrive into our adulthood with continual education, and it has a wonderful music program. We are so lucky to have the talents of Scott here. We can be in a choir that he directs. It's fantastic. So please, some of you have already pledged. First timers and those who increased your promise of support, thank you. Some of you have yet to pledge. Please do it now. And here we have, we won't ask again until after March ends. Now is the time. Some of you have pledged, but you did not make an increase, even though we absolutely need more support in the coming year if we are to keep our current level of staffing and ministry. And we ask you, please, if it is at all possible in your finances in this coming year. We know it's not possible for everyone, but go back and make a new pledge today if you can. Increase it by 500 if you can. And if you're expecting a COVID check of 1,400 and you can share it, consider sharing it. Friends, we are halfway up the hill to reach our financial needs for the coming year. The Hill We Climb is the title of Amanda Gorman's inauguration poem. Listen to these words from that poem as together we climb our hill. We ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. While once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. We together have weathered and witnessed a time when the congregation survived painful inner turmoil, followed by a year of COVID crisis. And now here we are. I invite each of you to be the light we all need to continue to prevail over catastrophe. Let's not miss our shot.
Congregation's spiritual home. It's where we talk and pray, most of all it's where we grow. So we should pledge a donation so we have something to believe in. In these suffocating times we need somewhere that we can breathe in. Like investing in yourself, in the spiritual goals of the people driving the spiritual road you hold. Special social bonds so tight and can be frightening. You need a place to move towards spiritual and light. So do not throw away your shot. Yeah, let's not throw away your shot. Cause we got determination and we love our congregation, so we're not throwing away your shot. So do not throw away your shot. Yeah, let's not throw away your shot. Cause we got determination and we love our congregation, so we're not throwing away your shot. It's time to take a shot at giving funds for our pray place. Whether virtual or not, we all need a safe space. Pay for the staff who are working every hour. Pledge what you can and generosity will tower. Whether 100 or a stack or a milli, all is welcome. Let's get really into keeping the church afloat. It's our shot, it's our time, yeah we get it. Time to pledge to our own congregation, we must devote. So do not throw away your shot. Yeah, let's not throw away your shot. Cause we got determination and we love our congregation, so we're not throwing away your shot. So do not throw away your shot. Yeah, let's not throw away your shot. Cause we got determination and we love our congregation, so we're not throwing away your shot. You gotta rise up. When your congregation is in need, you rise up. Let us seize the opportunity to rise up. We can practice spirituality, let's rise up. When are we, you and me, gonna rise up? When are we, you and me, gonna rise up? Now's the time to take a shot, so rise up. Now's the time to take a shot, so rise up, rise up. Don't miss your shot.
Whew, is that not amazing or what? And in fact, all of the young people who have been part of our service this morning, if we were in the sanctuary together, we would just be hooting and hollering and shouting in joy for the community that we are and the young people who are such a vital part of our community. So thank you to Lenore and to Liam and to Darius and to all the youth and children who make this place so incredible. It's a hard act to follow, but I do have a sermon, so I'll go ahead and offer that. So we had a conversation in my house this last week about pet peeves. You know, those little things that you or someone else does that just gets on somebody's nerves. Whether it's not putting the cap back on the toothpaste, or not using your blinkers when you are driving, or borrowing someone else's toys or books without asking, or not cleaning up the spatters on the kitchen wall from food going into the compost container that misses its mark. Pet peeves are those little things that bug people. So in this conversation, I learned from my daughter, Anna Lee, that one of her pet peeves with me is that I sing hymns out loud over and over when I'm at home. That wasn't what I expected to hear as her pet peeve, and it made me laugh. Yes, I do love our UU hymns, and I often find myself humming and singing them. However, with this new feedback, I'll try to be more aware of when I'm singing them and annoying my family. It's a simple thing, a small change that I can make. And speaking of hymns, our hymn this morning, Earth Was Given a Garden, is one of my favorites. Its lyrics reflect a great deal of my personal theology, and I love its symbolism and imagery. You may recognize the tune. It's an old Welsh melody from the 1800s, and we UUs know it from another one of our favorite hymns, Blue Boat Home. Well, I love Earth Was Given a Garden because it reminds us through its metaphors of why we are here on Earth, both as humans and as a congregation. I do think of our beautiful Earth as a garden that we and all the creatures of Earth have been given. This beautiful planet Earth, this garden, is our home. The hymn speaks of the tree of life and tree of knowledge as ours to discover. And I believe these acts of discovery are fundamental to the faith development of every one of us. We are each on a lifelong faith journey of discovery and unfolding. So as we move out of winter and towards spring and into the growing season in our part of the world, I invite us each to imagine ourselves in the garden. As the hymn says, where all life flows fresh and free, and all are guided into full maturity. The hymn goes on, teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with reverence. Then once more, we'll eat and flower. For me, this is one of the most beautiful images of a garden, our planet Earth, that I can imagine. Power being used for good, all touching the earth with reverence. Can you see it in your mind's eye and feel it in your heart too? I can imagine our congregation as a garden as well, with new seeds being planted and each of us growing and blossoming in our own time. One of the things our UU faith requires of us, as Lenore and Liam both so wonderfully shared this morning, in their videos is that we must keep growing and learning and seeking out deeper understandings and new to us truths. This willingness to keep learning and growing and changing is part of what helps guide us as people of faith into fuller maturity, into our fullest understanding of who we are and what a well-lived life looks like and feels like. Our faith requires that we keep learning, growing, changing, and becoming, no matter our age. When we learn and talk about our UU principles in chapel and faith development, we use the rainbow chalice. Those familiar with the rainbow chalice will tell you that the yellow candle, which represents the third principle, stands for Y for yellow, and also Y for yay for learning, or yearn to learn through your whole life. We often talk in chapel and faith development about how this is one of our jobs as UUs, our life's work perhaps, to never stop learning, wondering, changing, and growing. And that we aren't going to all come up with the same answers or understandings or beliefs. And that's okay. Engaging in the wondering and the learning is perhaps even more important than the outcome or the answers. Annika Harris, the author of our story this morning, writes, "I believe that one of the most important gifts we can give our children is the confidence to say, 'I don't know.' It is the foundation from which we begin our investigation of the world, asking questions, taking the necessary time to understand the answers, and searching for answers when the ones we have in hand don't seem to work. The feeling of not knowing is also one of the sources of wonder and awe." Even during this challenging year of life during the pandemic, our congregation has continued to offer multiple opportunities for children, youth, and adults to engage in faith development. We haven't been able to do everything we would have liked, or always to do things in the way we would like. Yet our virtual chapel and faith development for all ages on Sunday mornings, our community worship, our senior high youth group weekly meetings, and our sexuality education program for our middle school youth have been important and well received. We've had to adapt from our wonderful in-person programming and be open to new ways of learning and doing. And there have been some silver linings, such as a collaboration and sharing across congregations and reaching new people online who are happy to have found us, and we are happy to meet them. Our online adult faith development program has been robust. Did you know that 22 people registered for Reverend Linda's UU theology class entitled, "So Tell Me About the God You Don't Believe In"? We are thirsty for these explorations and conversations and learning with one another. So here's what I want you to know. Whether in person or virtually, what we continue to see is that faith development requires commitment from individuals and families, and also from the institution providing the opportunities, our congregation. Faith development requires commitment. It requires engagement within the individual who is learning and growing and changing. And then, as we are changed, even transformed by our experiences, we take our learnings as we go out into the wider world, and we are grounded in our faith with integrity and with a working moral compass. What we do here as a people, as a congregation, is help each other learn and grow through faith development, which is everything we do. And then we take our UU values and beliefs and we live them in our day-to-day lives out in the world. So today, I invite you to rejoice in and then renew and reaffirm your commitment to your own and if applicable, your family's faith development. And then commit to the faith development of all our fellow seekers in our beloved UUCVille community. The children and youth of our church, the elders, the young adults, and everyone in between, all of us, learning, growing, changing together in this place, in this garden that can help each of us blossom into our fullest selves. Earlier, I invited you to imagine yourself in a garden. Imagine that garden as lush and green. Imagine it growing all kinds of different and wondrous things. We all know that in order for a garden to be a place where growth can happen, it needs soil and water and light. As we make a commitment to one another to continue growing in faith together, I invite you to be the light with me. Together, let us make and grow a garden inch by inch and row by row. Let us create a garden that inspires us each to deep learning and growth in our own understandings and potential. Let us make a place where we can all grow and blossom and share our harvest, bounty, and beauty with the world. Amen. As our hymn this morning said, bless the earth with all your children, one creation, make us whole, interwoven, all connected, planet-wide and inmost soul. Holy Mother, life bestowing, bid our waste and warfare cease. Fill us all with grace overflowing. Teach us all to live in peace. Our service ends and our chalice is extinguished, but may our learning, growing, and service in the world continue. May we be inspired to be the light and to let our lights shine brightly. Go in peace and love. Blessed be, and amen.
That's so cool.